You seem to have forgotten that I am a woman.
Okay then. Well, let's step it up a notch then. Design firm.
Yeah.
And they were doing the fucking Margaritaville in Puerto Rico.
Oh, shit.
And that was my very first professional project.
Actually, that's kind of fun where you're like, let's just get this ceramic shark.
Bro,
throw it up on the wall.
They had so many surfboards. So many surfboards, like everywhere on the wall. Like,
Were they nice ones, or did they just get the cheapest ones they
no,
could
it was
find?
like a decal. It was
Right,
like
right.
cheap as fuck.
Like, you can't actually surf on them.
They wanted you to make it look like cheap.
Yeah.
It was like, what am I doing? Like,
Well, that's the demo.
like,
That's the demo.
I'm like, what am I doing? And I'm fucking drawing specifications for like a parrot. Like, what? So
Brutal.
funny.
Yeah, and that is very corporate,
Cool.
which is funny.
Come on. Usually gives me a thumbs up, but I didn't see him do it.
Okay. What is the name of your podcast?
It's called Haus Haux.
Oh,
And
cute.
it's spelled Haus, Haux. Because I was trying to like combine like house, you know, like
Right.
design. And
Yeah.
Ho. We used to do a relationship podcast.
Oh,
That's
really?
like where we met.
Oh,
Kinda.
really?
Yeah, we met
Okay.
like doing comedy.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that about you guys.
Yeah, so we were doing like open mics together,
Yeah,
and I had
yeah.
like started a little bit before him, and then we ended up doing a podcast together, and like the rest is whatever.
It's history.
It's history, but fucking I don't even know where I was going. I was a co-host on. It was called Kings.
Okay.
And it was a relationship roundtable. And it was like basically for dudes, and I was the like female voice. But
You're just like, yeah, we love when you jizz on our face. Like, all that. Just like
Dumb
affirming all
shit.
their stuff.
it was dumb shit. No, it was like it was fun. I had a good time on that podcast. But like since then, on like Urban Dictionary, hoe spelled that way is just crazy
Really?
motherfucker.
Oh.
And so I'm just like, that kind of makes sense. Like, I'm just this person in this house doing all this crazy shit all
Yeah.
the time. I'm like, whatever. I don't know. Throwing spaghetti at a wall.
I love it.
This is episode 20. Like, I'm still getting into it. So,
Yeah.
but the reason why I was like sort of calling it that was because I felt like a lot of artists who I wanted to talk to anyways
Yeah.
they've all gone through that point where they're like in their own shell, in their house. They like feel crazy. They're like doing this shit. And they're getting to this point, and then you end up doing it, hopefully. You know what I mean? Those are the
Right.
people that I end up talking to. So I've had like a lot of comics on. I've had a lot of artists and like different types of people on that just, you know, they've once maybe like felt like a black sheep or something like that. You know what I
Yes.
mean? So I find like whenever I bring that up to any comic, they're like, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
No, I fit in everywhere I go, and my family totally accepts this, right?
Right. Like when I started comedy, I had like I fucking abruptly moved out of my house like a week later. Like I was
Yeah.
living with my parents. It was back in Boston, and it was not like me to do. And I like moved in with my best friend and her now like fiance, and they did not understand why I was moving out. I didn't tell them, and then
Yeah.
like 6 months later, I was like, I'm doing comedy, and like
Right.
this is why, blah, 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 blah. And then, like, 2 years later, now they, like, get it because they see the studio and
Right,
shit.
right.
You know what I mean? But you're from Boston. We were just talking a
Yes.
little bit about this. Mae Planert, everybody.
Oh, hello.
Comedian, Mae Planert. Welcome to Haus Haux. Welcome to the podcast.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Oh, yeah.
So excited.
Thank you. Mae does a podcast here. We were had.
Check it out.
Definitely check it out. And you also have another podcast, Risqué Business, right?
Yes.
Check those both out if
Yeah.
you would like some more of Mae. But she is a fellow Bostonian. I'll call you Bostonian,
Yeah.
but you're from
Well,
Massachusetts.
Yeah. I'm from the Cape.
Yeah, I feel like in New York, if you're from Massachusetts, you're from Boston.
Right,
You know what I
right.
mean?
Or you at least say that.
Yeah,
and then you're
exactly.
Like, actually, it's an hour outside, but we'll go with it.
Yeah, we'll roll with it. But we were just talking about how, like, you know, comedy, parents, all that shit. Like,
Right.
how long have you been doing comedy for?
I guess at this point about 4 years, so relatively fresh as well.
Mhm.
And same reasons. Like, it took me forever to actually do comedy because I was like, oh, that's not something people are allowed to do. Like, you know, like
I didn't tell anybody for so long.
Me neither. It blows my mind, actually. I have some friends, and I won't name names, but like they're like, oh, you know, my parents are so supportive. They came to my first show, and I'm like, what the fuck kind of relationship is that?
Dude, I don't get it. I don't. My parents are foreign, so it's like very much no.
Yeah, they're like, we did not immigrate to this country for you to fucking go up there and talk
fuck
about
off,
dicks.
like in New York. Like, yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no way.
Yeah.
But I feel like growing up there was very linear paths where it was like, you're a nurse, you're a doctor, you're a saleswoman, you're this, that, or the other. And there was no room for creative, dreamy type roles. And so I really didn't think it was even an option for me until recently.
Damn.
And I always wanted to be a comic. And it was very funny because you know, everyone's mom does this, so it's not unique, but my mom would like always be like, when I was growing up, she'd be like, oh, you're very funny, like you hold court and blah, blah, blah. And then as soon as she found out I was doing stand-up, she was like, oh, why are you doing that? And I'm like, oh my God. Well, you know, whoever told you were funny? And I'm like, fucking you. Like,
you, lady.
Yeah, but as soon as I was actually doing it, she had to like cut me down at the knees and be like, okay, not that funny. You're gonna fucking back it up a little here.
A little big for your britches there.
This is a waste of your time. And you're holding these audiences hostage. Okay.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I understand that completely.
Yeah. Like if comedy is brought up at a family event, my mom will dead ass like leave the room.
Oh my God.
And it's nothing mean. It's nothing personal. I think she just isn't interested in me doing something that's risky.
Yeah.
I think that really freaks her out.
Yeah.
It's just so her personality.
Yeah, I get
know?
that. Like my right before pandemic happened, I went to Ireland with my parents.
Oh, cool.
We like.
Are your parents Irish?
No, they're Armenian. We just like to.
I was like, you don't look Irish at all.
We like to get the fuck out on Thanksgiving. We just like don't like to hang out with anyone.
Yeah.
So the Thanksgiving before pandemic, we went to Ireland like as a family, the three of us, whatever. And I had been doing comedy like for 6 or 8 months at that point.
Yeah.
And before we got on the plane, I like recorded me telling my dad that I like do stand up sometimes.
Yeah. And he's probably like,
and he laughed, and he's like so monotone anyways, and just like really doesn't say a lot anyways. But his first words were, "You making any money?"
Oh yeah, of course.
I'm like, no, I'm wasting a lot. Actually,
right? I'm actually paying to
I'm
do
actually
comedy.
very broke.
I'm in the hole.
I shouldn't be on this trip, like at all.
So true.
Yeah, but like I was determined to like make something out of it, and like I started podcasting when we got back. So like, I obviously was listening to podcasts and shit, but like hadn't done that, and ended up working out.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, but it was like that was like such a funny moment where I ended up doing like an open mic there.
Oh, really?
And I was like, I'm gonna go over whatever. I like didn't tell them. I was like, I'm gonna just don't come with me. Like, you know what I mean? Don't follow me. And it was so much fun.
Yeah.
It was so much fun. I highly recommend just like if you ever travel somewhere, do that. Just,
no, why not?
Why
it was
not?
super fun.
Yeah.
And then you get to be the special person with your weird accent, which is the normal accent to us. But
I like went up last like on purpose. I'm like, I'm gonna wait this out, really see if I want to do it.
right. Open mics are scarier than real shows because comics are such fucking cunts.
Dude, it's probably why I haven't like done any since like pretty much pandemic anyways, you know, because I mean
it's a chore.
It's
sometimes.
a lot, and you gotta you have to really be dedicated. I'm not gonna fucking half-ass it, you know what I mean? I can have my podcast and like whatever for now, you know, like
exactly.
And if I find a passion for that again, I can go back to it, but like I do a bunch of other shit. And like
you do a lot of things. Because you do the podcast studio, you do art, you do creative work for people.
Yeah.
Like you're fucking busy.
I'm out here freelancing all the time.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking cool.
Thank you.
I actually was explaining to somebody because they were like, oh, what's this podcast studio you guys have moved into? And I was like, oh, it's a really cool couple, actually.
Thank you.
They have a 2-bedroom and they converted it and they're super entrepreneurial. And like, I have a lot of respect for what you guys do. And just
thank
like
you so much.
the fucking cojones you have to be
Thank you.
We love doing this. We're good at it. Let's really go all in.
Oh yeah.
And that's really fucking cool.
Thank you.
Because I'm such like a, I don't know, like I dip like one toe in and see how I like it and then waste years of my life and then, you know, finally commit to things.
Yeah.
So I think it's really cool that you guys just went for it.
Thank you. I mean, like it it kind of just happened this way. Like, I mean, we definitely worked hard for it. For sure. But I mean, things just kind of like worked out. Like, I wasn't happy with what I was doing. It took a lot for me to be like, all right, fuck it. Like, I'm not happy anyways.
Right.
So I might as well take a risk and like see what happens. And worst case, like, I'm back exactly where I started. And then, like, at least I tried. And like, then I just started like applying that mentality to literally everything.
Yeah, it's a good mentality though.
I wasn't taking my own advice. I was like telling other people to do that and then not doing it myself. And that's fucked up. Like, don't be a hypocrite. You know
completely. I mean? And sometimes losing the thing that's holding you back, it feels so shitty because you're like, oh, I just got, fired or whatever it is. And then it ends up being a great thing. Like, I have a job now that I really like. And it's very, like, easy to do comedy with this job because it's not like a huge time commitment or anything.
Yeah, that's great.
And before that, I was working at this other job that was like a huge time commitment. I wasn't making any money. I was miserable. I was depressed, like all this shit. And then I got laid off and I was like, oh no.
Dude, right?
I was like, I got laid off and like that must mean I'm a bad employee and I'm a bad person and I'm not worth anything or whatever. And I'm like, thank fucking God I got laid off because I would have lasted another 2 years there and then I'd be 2 years behind comedy because I couldn't have done comedy with that job.
Yeah.
So,
dude, I had 3 really, really good jobs in interior design, and I got laid off from every single one of them. And it wasn't like, you're bad. It was like for other fucking reasons.
Right.
And like, whatever. You're always the youngest person is always the lowest on the totem pole.
Right.
They get kicked first anyways. And it's like, bitch, how many signs did you need? Like, you know what I mean? Like, just don't do this anymore.
And that's kind of that industry, right? Where it's such a nice to have, where like, I would love to have an interior decorator because I do not have an eye for that at all.
I mean, like, I was doing hospital, like, design. Like,
Hospital design?
Yeah. Like,
hospitals are so bleak, though. I'm like, you want to
not anymore.
throw a plant in there. Throw something. I always think about that when I'm in, like, my gynecologist. I'm like, they can't put a fucking banana tree in here.
Right, dude?
That would be so nice.
I mean, like, the last job that I had, like, professionally in interior design at an architectural firm, there's a whole interior design department. It's like interior architecture and, like, there's a whole licensure for it, everything, It's not just like, residential is sort of like where everybody goes to, but there's a whole, like, color theory and, like, how it affects behavior and shit.
Interesting,
like, behind everything. And, like, doing healthcare design, I worked on an 11 campus rebrand and like redesign of like I don't want to like name the actual medical like company, but like a very, very large like medical hospital in the Western Mass area, like 11 of their new facilities.
Wow.
I helped with their design. And like that was super cool to see because then you get to like understand what the user going to that facility, if you're already sick, and then the building is making you sick, or the people working in the building are not, don't have what they need, like from the space. Yeah, and it affects everything, and
it really does.
So it's just there's a whole like, and you have to like do construction documents and like draw the shit up, and like I don't know, it's a lot of work, and like it takes a lot of passion, and I loved that part of the creativity part of it. Yeah, and like figuring out that puzzle, but like I did not like that I had to show up at a certain time and like be creative. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, creativity is like, this is going to sound so fucking highfalutin, but it's true.
I sound like fucking so preachy, but you know what I mean?
Right. It comes and goes. Yeah. And then like whenever I've sat down and been like, okay, I need to write jokes or whatever it is, I write the worst fucking jokes ever because I'm trying to force it. It just has to like come to you. I'm also a big believer, and this is very heady and I sound like an asshole, but I'm a big believer in if you have an idea, it'll be with you for a certain amount of time. If you don't do anything with it, it's going to go to someone else. So then it like later on that year, if you're like, oh, they took my idea for a pilot or whatever. No, they didn't. You didn't do anything with that idea when it was with you.
Yeah, no, I totally believe that. Yeah. I'm like, I do like, not do, but like woo-woo shit, like settles well with me. Lands
too.
Well on me.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Same.
Like I do believe that your energy like affects everything.
Absolutely.
And it took me, I was saying this on the last podcast, it took me like 5 years in therapy to be like, oh, I am angry. Like,
yeah, right.
It takes a long time to get to that. And then once you like unlock the things that you're insecure about, then your creativity just pops off, Yeah. But if you're not able to be like self-reflective, then like how those
Right.
creative blocks are always going to happen.
Totally. And
Right?
it really does feel like there's an actual thing that's moving out of the way when you get to be creative. Because there are so many blocks and like so much, it's all insecurity. Like, I'm not good enough. I'm not funny enough. I'm not interesting enough, blah, blah, blah. And then, I don't know, do whatever you need to do to get that out of the way. And it's a big difference.
Yeah.
And it's also like energy is so important. It's like crazy how like we could be sitting at a table and everyone would just be sitting there and you'd be like, that person's going through something.
Right.
And it just like, and you can feel it off of them and you can
Mhm.
just feel it. And so I don't know, it's tough. Because it's like, you know, obviously if I am going through something, I don't want it to be like radiating off of me, but also I can't help it.
But that's what I think that's what makes you like a funny person or a comic, like able to read the room like that and be able to like understand, oh, that person's like, this couple is like this, and that, you know, be able to like read people is so important.
Yeah.
And I think having that skill like in real life, people don't think about it, and it's like second nature because you're doing it on stage like every night. You know what I mean?
Or if you have to do crowd work or whatever, it's like, okay, I'm going to choose this couple because they seem a little happier than this other couple who obviously just got in a fight. and they can't wait to get out of here so they can scream at each other or whatever it is.
Exactly.
And I actually hate like that type of comedy. I've seen this so many times where people will lean into the couple that they know is uncomfortable. Like, why are you fucking not laughing? And blah, blah, blah. And I'm like,
Don't do that.
Just let them not laugh and let them do whatever they want to do and just play to the people that are having fun in the room. Because I don't know, you never know what people are going through. And that's like cliche, but it's super true.
So true. Yeah.
You know, like, and I try to keep that in mind. Like, somebody was like, oh, I had a joke about a miscarriage and they took it super seriously and blah, blah, blah. And like this person got mad. And it's like, okay, yeah, they probably shouldn't have been at a comedy show, but like maybe they just had a miscarriage or something.
Yeah.
You know, you don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
So
for sure. And I think like it's okay to be like sensitive about that kind of stuff. And then like people also, they like to just give people a hard time.
right.
You know, there's also people that's in the comedy show and they just don't know what they're like signing up for some reason. And like, I don't understand people who just don't laugh. Like, they come to a comedy show. But like, there are those people that maybe they just got some bad news like right before they walked in.
Right.
You know, and like that could happen in any case scenario. So like having that awareness,
Yeah.
like no matter what is
Just leave them alone.
yeah.
Also, I would think about this all the time because I haven't been an audience member in a show in a long time, but it is so exhausting to laugh at every punchline. Like, you would have to really catch me off guard to make me laugh.
Yeah.
Like,
Dude, that's why I feel like open mics are so hard for comics because they're just jaded anyways, you know?
and if I'm at an open mic and somebody says something funny, I might go, that's funny.
Yeah.
And like, that's it.
But I truly think it's funny, but
Yeah.
I'm like, it can't
I'm just
laugh.
like,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just like, you should keep doing that joke, but I'm not going to actually laugh for it. That's a great premise, but like, if you're expecting a real reaction, you're not going to get one.
Oh my God. So like outside of that, like did you ever do any like performing of any kind before comedy?
No.
Never
So-
did theater or anything?
No, I didn't. So when I first started everything, like I was afraid to do stand up because I was just intimidated by it. And I was dating Mark Normand, who is now my fiance.
Yeah.
And so I thought at the time, I was like, oh, I can't now do stand up because that's fucking embarrassing. It looks like I'm like, you know, you're like copying him basically.
My idea, he took it. See?
He's the only person in the world who does this. And like the reality is, my whole life I wanted to try it.
Yeah.
And so then I was like, okay, maybe I'll be a writer. Maybe I'll be a comedy writer. So then I did a bunch of like comedy writing classes that were really fun. And then I was like, okay, maybe I'll do improv. I hated improv. Okay?
Yeah, no.
Fucking hated improv.
Yeah.
And then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do stand up. And so it was like this little trajectory there, but I had never done anything at all when it come to like school or anything like that. Never was in a play or anything.
You just like kept it to yourself this whole time. It was your secret.
Yeah, this whole time. Like for me, the first like 2 years of being on stage was simply getting over stage fright.
Wow.
And a lot of people were talking, like when I talk to like Ben or Max, the people I do the podcast with, they're like, I'm like, obviously you know, but I'm explaining for those.
Yes, also check them out. Yeah.
Right.
That was my
But they talk about open mics like, oh, they're not even useful. Like I didn't even go to them because they weren't useful or whatever. I was like, for me, they were super useful because I had to like make sure that my stomach didn't flip every time I went on stage.
Yeah.
Like I was so fucking nervous for so long.
Yeah.
And like my first few shows, I would have like crazy diarrhea before I went on stage.
Dude, the nerves. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially like, it's your peers, and like there's just like if you're going in there, like they want to not laugh.
They want to, yeah.
You know what I mean?
They want you to fail.
So it just, you have to, exactly like you said, like just have some balls and
Right.
then do it and like get it over with. And
Yeah.
like the first time you bomb on anything, it sucks, but then you grow from that.
Yeah, and it's like, okay,
Like,
everybody
cool.
bombs.
Yeah.
It's really not that big of a deal. And then I also was totally projecting this. No one's ever said this, but I was like, oh, everyone's judging me because I'm Mark's girlfriend. And I'm like, nobody's thinking about that at all or knows who the fuck you are, you stupid narcissistic bitch. But for a while I was like, if I'm funny, they're going to be like, oh, Mark helped her. And if I'm not funny, then I'm not funny.
Yeah.
So
You're going to say that regardless.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And what I realized after, doing comedy for a little while is that, yeah, there were some people that talk shit and whatever,
Yeah.
but that's how everybody is. But like, there
If
were some
they're a
people that
hater,
talk
they're a
shit.
hater.
Yeah, and they were not funny.
Mhm,
And then
exactly.
the people that were like, yeah, who cares, whatever, were the funny people.
And people
So-
doing their shit and probably getting
Right.
the reps in and respect you for doing your shit. And like,
Right.
that's really what it's about. Like, are you getting, like, in anything, like podcast, like this whole thing, like me figuring it out, everything. Like, if you're doing the reps, people recognize that. They see you're present for your craft. And like, that's how you get better.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Or recognized or whatever, like, regardless of who you're with. You know what I mean?
Right,
So,
exactly.
yeah, I mean, I felt like that at the beginning of our relationship too, because he taught me how to produce,
Yeah.
like in a certain way, and like how to produce. Like I learned how to produce live, like
Yeah.
before like live streaming to you. Like
whoa.
can't make mistakes. Like that's how I learned how to produce.
Damn.
They just threw me right in.
What was the first thing you guys produced, or you produced?
So he has a podcast, Shit Talking Cunts. And his co-host is actually coming to town. Make sure you check out the episodes coming out of Shit Talking Cunts in like the next couple weeks, because there'll be a lot of overtime off in studio. But I think it was either for him or it could have been for Sam Buck. But I think I got reps in with like STC before I did Sam's. But we would literally just stream right to YouTube and like do transitions and like fucking everything live. And like that's how I learned. And then I knew how to do graphics and shit. So like just understanding audio and like cues and stuff like that. And then fucking a year later, we're like doing cues for like JFL and shit.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I can do this now.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
It's interesting to me that you're so good at that because you're creative.
Thank
and
you.
that's really technical.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, like,
Yeah.
design's pretty technical.
Okay.
Like, when I would say 90% of my professional career was doing like specifications and technical drawings, like
Okay.
architectural drawings, like very attention to detail. And I think just like my whole life, like developing artistic skills, you have to pay attention to detail to like have your shit stand out and like to give it depth and like convey your message and shit.
Yeah.
And like I always like to make things like way deeper. 'Cause I'm fucking an asshole. So like I just always like to add layers to shit. So like I just feel like I can apply that same principle to anything.
Right.
You know, like I could take if I want to learn it, you know.
Right.
If I really don't want to learn it, then I'm not fucking doing it.
Yeah.
You know, it's the same thing like reading a book. Like half the time I'll read an audio book because I fuck picking up a book. Like,
Yes.
I'm bored, you know?
Yes.
But it's necessary, I guess.
I think that's the mark of a smart person, though, because
Yeah.
most smart people are like, if I'm interested, I will be an expert at this. If I'm not, I don't fucking care. Even if it means I get like an A in this subject, I don't really give a shit
Yeah.
about that, you know?
I just think that and I mean, you probably can relate to this based on what you're saying. Like, there's a lot of people out there that really want you to fail. Like, that see that you're doing something that maybe they want to do, or that you're taking a risk, and that makes them very uncomfortable because they don't know how to do that. And maybe they want to do that, or just the fact that you're doing it and they don't even want to make a change. Like they're uncomfortable because you're doing something else that's not in their normal thing. And like, I can't let people like dictate that, you know? So, I mean, I can't take that energy, dude. Like I just can't. So like,
No,
if
who
I'm going to
needs
do it, I can't even fucking talk, huh? I can't take that shit because it wastes my time and getting better at the skills that I want to make. Like, that I want to get better at.
It's a waste of energy.
Yeah.
I also think, I'm 31, you're 29.
Yeah.
Like, we're at the point where we're just kind of over that.
Yeah.
Like, when I was younger, that really bothered me. And I used to think about, and I still do, I'm not saying I don't at all, but like I used to think about that way more. And it's such a waste of fucking time and energy. I just don't have the energy to have
I
that
don't. That's why I like can't talk. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, really? I gotta say this shit again? Like, I think when I started that mindset, just good things came. And I think that's important for people to practice.
It is.
I'm not trying to be preachy. I feel like this podcast has become very preachy on my ends.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Both ends.
I don't know. But like outside of comedy, are there like other things that you like do or like consider your artists about, or like are there things that you enjoy?
Yeah, I mean, if I didn't have a full-time job and comedy, because that just sucks up most of my resources. I really love fashion. So like it's an interesting thing to feel creatively about, because it's like, okay, anybody with money can have like nice fashion, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
My friend had this fashion blog for a little while. It was actually very good. But she was like she wanted to do more of like, I'm looking chic on a budget kind of thing, and give like Zara ideas.
Oh,
like
cool.
accessible stuff that was pretty cute. And then her partner that she did it with would just like walk in like a fucking, I don't even know, like a Prada outfit, and she would be like, oh, like, isn't this fashionable? It's like, yeah. This isn't like creative though. You just like walked in and spent a fucking $5,000 on whatever the fuck. So I like that. I like that sort of visual thing. I feel like I haven't really been doing much of that because of comedy, because first of all, I feel this pressure to look like schlubby on stage. You know what I mean?
I do, but don't
I agree.
fucking people,
It's kind of the same thing where it's like, if I want to wear a shoelace for a top and be in a crop top on stage,
be able to.
God forbid. And I should still be able to be funny while I'm doing that. But so I don't know. There's like, I feel like when you first start comedy, you get more and more unattractive. And then you have to like figure out how to still be a cute girl. But it takes a little while. Like, me and my friend were talking about this. We were like, as soon as you start doing comedy, like, you just start working out less. You're up too late. You're eating crappy. You're like drinking too much, and you just look fucking horrible. You wear the same sweater every podcast
I've had
you're on.
this sweater for a decade.
Yeah.
I actually like, when we moved to New York, I mean, I've gone to fucking Buffalo Exchange so many times to sell my clothes, dude. And I think this was the last one. Like, I had so many clothes. Yeah. So many clothes. And then when we've moved like 5 times in 1 year.
Oh, what?
And I'm like, I ain't doing this shit
Are you kidding?
I'm not joking.
What year?
So in 2019, I moved between 2019 and 2020, I moved 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times.
Why the fuck did you do that?
Because I moved out of my parents' house into my friend's house, out of my friend's house into an apartment, and then him and I started like kind of dating, and then pandemic happened within that 3-week span. Yeah. And so we basically like lived together through pandemic. Right. And then during pandemic, moved to New York into a studio. Like,
oh, he's from Mass too. I didn't realize that.
He's from all over the place, but we met in Boston and both lived in Boston, and then we moved from that studio to here. So it was like, I'm not this is too much. I don't wear half this shit. Like, no one cares about this shit. I'm never gonna go. I'm never gonna fucking, if I go to Ibiza again, I will buy new outfits. Like, right. You know what I mean? Yeah. Nothing that I have is good anymore.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Like club shoes from like fucking when I was 24. Like, I don't need this shit,
No, you definitely don't need that shit.
They're sticky and like, no thanks, know? But I feel like now that I'm turning 30, I need not to have like a uniform, but
you know what you like and what you don't like.
Yeah,
and you know what silhouettes work on you, and you're willing to spend the money on things that are gonna last.
Right. Like, did you watch the Lady Gaga documentary on Netflix?
Yeah.
Okay, you know
5'2"?
Yes.
Yeah.
First of all, awesome.
Yeah.
But there's something that she said, like, I kind of want to have a uniform, and it was like mostly like all black, and then she had that like one where it was like the same shorts and like whatever. And I'm like, I kind of like that idea. Like, it would be nice to only wear Skims. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll just fucking do that, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah.
But, you know, like, it's obviously like an investment. But you know what I mean? It's just,
Right.
it's nice to, like, know what you like and then just have that. And then you don't have to worry about it. And I just, having that peace of mind, like, the older I get means so much.
Yeah,
you know?
it's great. I know. I love that too. And then also, like, we're not in a place where we're going out and you know, trying
Even
to meet
if you
boys or
are,
anything like that. And so usually I just like get high quality clothes. I mean, this is a horrible time to talk about this. I'm wearing like a grandma sweater, but like I'm like this really cool sweater I got at a
from
fucking
Old
thrift
Navy,
store.
yeah.
But somebody asked me actually, they're like, "Where'd you get that sweater?" And I was like,
I
"This
actually
is the
really
most-
like that sweater.
This is the most annoying answer ever, but a thrift store in LA. But for real,
Yeah. They have good shit. Like,
they
you
have
want.
good shit, whatever. But it's nice to be like, okay, I'm gonna go to like my nice dinner, and that's
Yeah.
gonna be my night. And I'm
Yeah.
gonna wear my fucking awesome ass sweater, have a martini.
Yeah.
That's the
Exactly.
life. It's great.
I know. And I mean, it's funny because you can, it's so dumb to say also, but you really can design your life however you fucking want.
Yeah.
And like, then do it. It's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah,
I like that. I never thought that I could do that until like fucking 3 years ago.
right. Exactly. There's nothing stopping you from being happy besides you,
Yeah.
really.
What was a reason you moved from Boston to New York?
Just like
Massachusetts?
life. I was living in the North End for a year and saving money, and the idea was that I got out of school and I was gonna go to Boston and basically save money to move to New York. That was like my whole thing. I don't know why I just didn't go directly to New York, but that's
We like that. We're just they're scared. Like, you know, like you.
that's an example of
Yeah.
it where I was like, oh, my parents expect me to be in Boston, so I'll go to Boston.
That's how I was too.
Yeah, and I had some fucking stupid ass sales job at this company that was fucking hell, and I made literally like $30,000, not even exaggerating.
Dude, I hear you.
Yeah, it was insane.
Yeah.
And I was spending rent in Boston, which was not cheap. It was like still $1,000 a
Yeah.
month, and I'm like, that's like my whole fucking paycheck.
Yeah.
And it was brutal. It had a lot of hard-boiled egg dinners.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
yeah, and then I got a bonus at the end, like my end of year bonus was like $5,000, and I put every single penny of that into signing for a new contract down in the East Village, actually.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
And so I don't know, I just wanted to move down here really bad. I felt like I was in a box and I couldn't like open my wingspan.
Yeah. That's
And,
how I
you
felt
know,
too.
Yeah.
Like my whole life I lived in Boston.
Right.
For
It's a great place.
It's a great place. Like for a good portion of like my teenage years, I thought I was gonna move to LA.
Yeah.
Just because at the time I liked the vibe, but like then I'm like, no, I fucking don't. I really don't. But then like the only time I ever really lived away from like Boston was I studied abroad for like 6 months, whatever.
Where'd you go?
I went to Florence.
Me too.
Really?
Yeah.
What year?
Well, I guess like 2012, 2011.
I was there 2012.
Oh, that's so funny. I must have been
Spring
there.
2012.
I must have been there before you because I'm a little older than you.
I went my sophomore year. When
Oh,
most
okay.
people go their junior year, but I
Yeah,
went
me
my
too.
sophomore year.
Oh, okay.
But
maybe we're there at the same
that would have been
time.
really fucking funny. I went with, I'll cut this out if it matters, but I went with API. I was like a study abroad group, whatever.
Oh,
Anyways,
okay.
But anyways, I studied there and like that, dude, then when you want to talk about like spiritual connections, but I love that place. And like, if there's any place, I was like, I'm going to move to Italy.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
And then I'm like, are you dumb? Like, I mean, I could do that. I actually like had an interview there once. Like I was like on a trip there and I like made sure that I had like a job interview when I
Yeah.
got there and I just straight up didn't go.
Oh, yeah.
Straight up didn't go.
I mean,
I'm
it's
like,
so
what
ridiculous.
am I doing, dude? Like what? And
Remember when I was there, I was so envious of the people that were in their early 20s that had moved over there. And I thought
Yeah.
that was like really cool. But then once I was in my early 20s, I was like, maybe that's not, what are they running from?
Yeah.
It was kind of strange.
yeah, and they all like worked for a club.
Yes, yes. They all worked for like Astor.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude. Or fucking, what was the other one? Like when in
Space.
Florence. Yeah,
Yeah.
dude. Exactly. That's so funny. We
Oh my
probably
God,
do
what
know the
was
same people.
Yeah, what was the other one? Oh my God. There was, and every week of the night had a different place that you were supposed to go.
Yeah. It was a red, not red, was it Red Lantern?
Yeah, well, that
Was
was
it Red
definitely a place
Lantern?
there. Yeah.
Or
like
some
Dragon's
shit.
Den
Yeah,
or something like that.
Piazza Santa Croce. Yeah, dude, for sure. That's the best fucking place. We were actually supposed to. I'll tell this story like after the podcast. We were supposed to go there for my 30th birthday, and now we're not going there.
Oh, damn.
I know, but we will go again soon.
Yeah.
I like fucking miss that place.
It was cool.
Yeah.
I came back from that as such a twat, too. I'd be like,
me too.
I'd be like, Americans don't know anything.
And I thought I was the only one that wasn't a twat about it. I was like, no, I'm for real. I know for firsthand. And I went. And then that's why everybody else who was a twat was said also.
Oh my God. We were literally the worst. I'm sure our parents were like, Jesus fucking Christ.
Literally, no wonder they fucking roll their eyes at me all the time. Like,
exactly.
Like,
my parents are probably just like, let it pass.
Yeah.
Let her talk about all this fucking shit. And like, ugh, what an idiot.
I know. I feel the same way. But then I fucking moved to New York just because. Not just because, like, I knew I was going to come, but we, like, both ended up having an opportunity and then taking advantage of it, which was cool.
Perfect. Yeah.
Which that opportunity ended up not working out, and this ended up being much better than it was. Yeah. So that's cool because I could put my full energy to it. So I'm happy that we were, like, able to be here.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, it's just, like, awesome that you have figured this out. You're pretty, you have this little niche carved out. You have a lot of podcasts that do podcasts out of here.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we have like 8 now, and we have a couple coming on.
Yeah, you should.
I want to announce them yet, but I'm very excited for them to come.
Yeah, I mean, I recommend you guys to a lot of people.
Thank
because
you. Really, that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's all you do great work. This is an awesome studio. It's just
I'm
like
so
super
happy
convenient.
to hear that.
Yeah.
Dude, truly, this is like so much fun. Like to be able to get up and then like fucking laugh for your job.
Yeah.
And like just be creative and like people really, it's a trust fall. You know what I mean? Like it's people's projects and shit. And I'm sure you feel that way, but like doing what you're doing also.
Right.
When it's a trust fall, like you're trying to like make something look good for someone else.
Yep.
And like when it works out, like it feels good. Like I really do only want to work with people that I actually like. You know what I mean? Like I have that. You gotta remind yourself, like I can make that boundary. Like I like. Yeah. If I like someone and I want to work with them and they want to work with me, that's fucking awesome, you know?
Right.
So I just try to like remember that. I'm very fortunate for that.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, you should be able to set a line. Like if you really don't vibe with someone and it's going to be a chore to work with them. It's not going to be
a good creative project. No one's going to win there.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. There are certain personalities in comedy that like try to be type A about comedy. And it's sort of like you just have to have fun and hope that the fun works out.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a lot of L's.
Yeah.
Because that's just life. And that's definitely the entertainment industry. Yeah. So you just kind of have to chill and let like love in my love.
Yeah, dude. Like just do you.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, like it has to be a great feeling knowing like, okay, my whole life you wanted to be a comic and now you're fucking doing it. That you must feel great every day.
I actually don't really reflect on it that much because in my mind, like I still have a day job and I'm sort of like, oh, I'm not supporting myself that way. But then I have to get out of my head, like just because I'm not fully supporting myself through comedy doesn't mean that I'm not a full-fledged comedian. Yeah. You know, like, so I need to like break that mental blocker that says like the thing that you do for money is who you are. Yeah. Because that's not true.
And you also, like, I recently had this revelation that I don't need to monetize every part of my life.
Right, exactly.
And I feel like when you're a creative person or if you're a freelancer, if, like, you're doing something that's, like, in that realm, you want to make more money and, like, be validated, but you have to save some of that for the reason why you even did it to begin with.
Exactly.
Like, it makes you happy, you know?
Just because I suck dick for money doesn't make...
Yeah, exactly, dude. Don't fucking judge me. Right. This is my pleasure penis over here. This is the business one. You know?
Yeah. Do you find that you have a hard time separating chilling time from work? Because I would imagine it would just be like, we have to work all the time because we don't have a set number of hours that we're working.
I had a real problem with that for like a long time. And I was a workaholic for like really a long time. I had like 4 jobs at one point. Like at one time. Like
what the fuck were the jobs?
Dude, I was like a fucking teacher. I was a designer. I was like worked like at a cafe. I fucking tutored. Like I just like did so many things and like because I wanted to get out of my parents' house. Yeah. And I wanted to like I had this fucking notion that I had to buy property to like be okay with like leaving their house. You know what I mean? Or
no,
like,
that's absurd.
like, isn't that fucking crazy? Like that I would be like wasting like money and like fucking here I, you know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Whatever. But like, I mean, that kind of allowed me to like pay off like my college. Like I paid for my college like myself. Like I paid for my fucking whole car myself. Like all that shit. Like
that's great.
I like really have always been adamant about like making my own money.
Yeah.
So like I had to set boundaries now where in order for me to be creative about other people's shit and my own shit, I kind of have to set hours. So like I started back in like June. I don't answer people before 10:30 in the morning.
Love that.
Like unless I'm doing something with you that day or like it's an emergency, I don't need to talk to you before 10:30 in the morning. I don't. There's no reason for it. There really is no reason for it. And like I can use that time beforehand to like get myself settled for the day and then be a functioning member of society, you know? And then I don't feel bad working from like 10:30 to 6.
Yeah,
and that's a normal person's time.
It's normal.
And then if I'm obviously going to work more than that because I own a business, but like, you know, when you work longer than that, it allows you to take normal person breaks and like catch up with people at a normal hour and like, or semi-normal, like whatever, because we work at night too, you know? But like setting it up in that way helped me chill more.
Yeah,
you
I
know?
think so. Just blocking it off.
Yeah.
I had a similar thing. So the girl that I run Risqué Business News with, this is not news to anybody, so she won't be offended if I say this. This is not groundbreaking, but she's a little high strung. Okay, she's a little type A, and I'm not that way at all. And she would just like wake up at like 6 a.m. and be firing off text messages and like, what do you think about this? And like this story and blah blah blah. And this created like spiraling, like, and like our podcast is like kind of like tinfoil hat-ish.
Yeah,
like it's a lot of like conspiracies and webs and like, do you think that this Russian oligarch is involved in blah blah blah?
Oh my god,
and blah blah blah. So she's like rifling off this like super anxiety-inducing things to me. It's like super early in the morning,
starting to feel it in my lower stomach.
And I would have to. I had set a boundary with her where I was like, you have to wait until 9:30 in the morning to be able to text me.
Yeah.
And you can text me these novels, put it in your drafts.
Just don't expect an answer. And like, you don't need to be like, what if you had a fucking awful night?
Yeah.
And like, not even anything to do with like comedy or whatever. You just had a bad sleeping night, whatever. And like this bitch just fucking blowing up your phone. Like anybody could be blowing up your phone at like 6 and you're like, I just want to sleep so that you can function for the rest of the day. And it's like, dude, you know. So I just don't answer anyone.
Yeah, no, that's good though. I wish I had I feel like I want to like put my phone away until a certain hour.
It makes you do that when you start that boundary.
Right.
Yeah.
Phones are bad.
Yeah. I mean, like,
that's my hot take.
I fucking use it anyways. Like, people could text me, just like, don't expect a response before that time. Don't get mad if I post on social media because that's what I'm doing in that hour because I don't have time the rest of the day. You know what I mean? Like, the fact that someone else is gonna think that like that rule like is a real thing, like, fuck you. That's not gonna dictate my time.
Yeah, right.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I like shit like that. I mean, plus I feel like most of my friends. Like I have like friends here in New York or whatever, but it's like if you're gonna make more friends and be social, you have to make time.
Yes,
you know.
I know.
So
I've actually been thinking about this because I'm getting married in November.
Yeah,
and thank you. And so I'm getting married in November, and I'm inviting all these people, and like because of comedy, I have very little time to just chill with people and like get drinks and hang out and whatever. Because you know most nights I'm doing comedy stuff, and then a night that I have off, I'm like I want to watch TV. Yeah. I want to have some downtime with just me. I don't want to go like catch up, you know, depending. And like my friendships are important to me, obviously. So I do make time, but it is like exhausting. And then some people on the list, I'm like, it's important for me to invite them. But at the same time, like the next time I see them might be the fucking wedding.
Yeah.
Like, and that has nothing to do with how much or little I like them. Yeah. It's just like we're both super busy.
Right.
And I think also with comedy, I get this like arrogance where I'm like, I'm the only busy person. And it's like, they have things to do too. They're super busy too. Yeah. So it's very hard to carve things out.
Yeah. At first, like when I moved, I kind of, it's not that I was expecting like all my friends like come visit all the time or whatever, and especially when you're living in a studio and shit with like my boyfriend, whatever. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I get it. But now that we have space, like it's a different case scenario. But it like really did take me a long time to be like, oh, okay, well, if I can't go home all the time, then it's very possible they can't visit me all the time. So like you you have to like be okay with that. Like, all right, I'm the one that made the decision to live here and all that shit. But guess what? There's fucking FaceTime. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can call, text, like whatever. Like, there are other ways to be social, like besides, you know? So I don't know. It's just, I do struggle with that sometimes. But it is important.
It is important, but it's really tough to make time for everybody in your life, you know.
I'm doing me, bitch. 30 years of putting my fucking your oxygen mask on first. Like,
right. You know?
The fuck? It's my turn.
Exactly. And then I try to like clump groups together and be like, I'll just get them all. I'll knock them all out. Like,
you know,
like efficiency wise. And then I just end up not hanging out with anybody because it's like this big group or whatever.
Right. I like have way more fun now, like having like one or two people, like, you know, in the vicinity.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And have like a real conversation with people. It's much better.
Especially after fucking pandemic where, not to be this fucking podcast, you know, but like when me talking to myself and the one other person that lives in this house, not always like good. You know what I mean? It's good to like get that muscle back too.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm happy we're back out of it.
Me too. God, that was like fucking shitty.
Yeah.
And at the time, there was some positive things about it. It was like, okay, we'll make dinner, and this is kind of nice, and we can like watch TV without any sort of guilt around that. And then after a while, it was like, okay.
Then you end up watching every season of South Park, and it's like my brain is gone now.
I have no brain.
Literally,
I don't know how to read.
Yeah, forgot. That's why I had to legit start watching documentaries again.
Yeah, we should learning something.
Yeah, exactly.
It might be useless information, but it's something.
I know. Well, I mean, fucking Like, fuck, I'll watch a documentary on SpongeBob. I don't give a fuck. You know?
Yeah. I like to multitask where obviously like the podcast I do here is like true story based.
Yeah.
And then the one I do, the other one I do is also true story based. So if I watch a documentary, I'm like, at least I can make this a story on my podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
And like I'm like the whole podcast, I'm like, you might as well just watch the documentary instead of listen to this podcast.
Summary of the documentary.
This is me explaining a documentary that I watched once.
The first, I swear to you, like 10 episodes of this podcast, I brought up, and I'm doing it again, don't care. This is Pop. Shout out. Probably gonna watch it when I like stop recording this podcast.
This is Pop?
This is Pop. It's a docuseries on Netflix. And I am very keen to episode 3, as everybody on this podcast knows. Super influential. Love it very much. It goes into like producers from Sweden that really were like producing most of the pop like 90s hits. Like,
cool.
And like almost every hit that you hear that's pop like now.
Yeah. Interesting.
It's so awesome. Yeah, but we are getting near my one segment that I have on this podcast. We've almost been talking for an hour.
Really?
I blinked. Yeah.
I thought that it was like, I was like, wow, I was offended. I was like, oh my God, we've only been talking for like 15 minutes. She's going to cut me short.
No, dude. I mean, like, I wish my producer didn't walk away, but like, I mean, you got here on time. Yeah. Anyways, we'll get to our last segment. So what I have been also using this podcast for is like a vessel to keep myself accountable to like the art that I'm doing.
Okay.
Because I felt like I wasn't putting out enough of what I like do, and that I really love doing. Is that
reality, or is that just what you?
No, facts. Like I really did want to do that, so I like just have this little report at the end of my podcast that like tells everyone what I did for the week.
Love it.
So, and then if you want to put anything out there, feel free. And this is also like a time where I'm just like, I'm going to manifest something. And then like, we'll see if it happens. So far, the people who have been back on this podcast have all done their like accountability thing.
Oh.
Or even if it didn't work out, they still did it. And I'm very proud. So, yeah, I mean, no pressure.
No, I should have a little pressure.
No pressure, but like this is just something that I like to do, and it just like helps with my routine and stuff. So the last podcast that I recorded was a couple hours ago, but in this intents and purposes was last week. And now there is a new, so I have a monthly candle club called the LITTY Committee.
Oh.
And it takes my artwork and I've made it into like candles.
Yeah.
So those, actually this one, oh, wait, I did this on purpose. This one right here is March, and
that's so pretty. I love it.
I'll put a actual picture so that I don't set everything on fire. But the art that's on here is one of the coloring book pages that I am designing in the coloring book that I've been working on. And I have
You are such a jack of all trades.
Thank you, dude.
That is really cool.
To be honest, I'm just I really want to enter my art into Art Basel. And
yeah.
I really want to have like a strong series because that's kind of what you have to have, and like several other things.
That would be so badass.
Thank you. It's like I never thought it was something that was possible, and then I didn't think this was possible, so I'm like, oh, let me try Art Basel.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So we'll see, but I like this series. It's called Postcards from My Trip.
Oh, cute.
And
I love that.
It's like a whole I have like mental health sort of ties to like each thing, and it goes through like a whole like year's worth of a journey.
Cool.
And so this one's March, and this is the candle of the month. So it is Himalayan salt, lotus, and jasmine scented, and it's soy
really
wax.
good.
Thank you very much. And it's free shipping. So like go to my Patreon, patreon.com/Moush, and sign up for the LITTY committee. That is what my accountability thing was for, to get that shit ready for you guys. And it is. So yay.
Wow, yay.
You can get thank you. You can get the last 2 months on of like January and February. I have some of those candles left. If you are still interested in just like seeing the series or purchasing another one of those candles, it's on my animoushmedia.com website. So keep that shit. I'm hoping by the next time that we record, I'm not getting that shit done. There's no way. Let me be realistic. I guess I have this one page left in this coloring book. I really want to just get it done. So I'm going to say like within the next month, I'll put it out for the next month, not the next time I record.
There you go.
That I'll get it done. I'll be nice to myself.
Yeah. How many pages is it?
It's 12 pages.
Okay.
And I wanted it to sort of, my original goal was to have it be out for like the new year, but obviously things take time.
Right.
But I really just wanted it to be where you could start at any point and then just be able to reflect on the year, like when you're done. Doesn't matter when you start. So, and I mean, there's a lot of like psychedelic-y stuff in there too. There's all the things. But it's really fun. And I did one of the coloring pages myself for funsies just to see if it was like boring, and I had fun. So that's all that matters, I think.
Yeah. It's relaxing too. I feel like there's a lot more adults getting into coloring books. Just to get themselves off their phones.
Yeah, dude. I'll show you when we get off the podcast some of the other pages, and it's just sort of like affirmations and like reminders that I think are important. But
that's great.
Yeah. So maybe I'll try. My birthday's April 14th. Maybe I'll try to have it out for my birthday.
There you go.
Maybe I'll be totally done with it by my birthday. I'm gonna try to manifest.
I like that.
That's a good amount of time.
Yeah.
So.
And also then you can turn the leaf into 30.
Yeah.
I feel like you're really.
Ooh, that's a great birthday present to myself. Yeah, everybody go buy one when it's out on my birthday. Happy birthday to me. Is there anything that you wanted to throw out there? I mean, little, small, it doesn't have to be about comedy.
Well, a very small one. This is about comedy, but a very small one that I want to do, and I've been saying this forever, but I'm still sort of gripped with that, like, people are going to judge me and whatever. I don't put out many clips on social. I do our podcast or whatever, but I don't do a lot of stand-up clips. And it's like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Like, either do it or don't. Like, are you doing comedy or not?
It's like your portfolio, basically.
Exactly. And then also, I've like, think about it this way, where if somebody looked at my Instagram, would they be like, she's taking comedy seriously or not?
Right.
You know? So I want to make that really clear to people. And I have a lot of jokes that I could totally burn. I've been doing them for way too long. So I'm like, let's throw them up.
Hell yeah, dude.
So maybe next time I come in for We Were Had, we'll have a clip up. So.
Yes. Awesome. Hell
and it'll probably get a bunch of hate. And someone will say, you look fat. And I'll say, Mom, get off the internet.
Told you not to look at these ones, okay?
But I'll do it. So fuck it. Whatever.
Awesome. Wow. There we go. Fuck yeah. Well, dude, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
You have a bunch of shows that you do, such that you run. Do you want to plug all the things that you do? We'll put the links to like your podcast in the description of this bio and all your social media and stuff.
Yeah. Please listen to those podcasts. They're great. We Were Had and Risqué Business. Yeah. You can find me at the Tiny Cupboard every single Saturday at 5:30. I run a show called Borscht with my co-host for We Were Had, Ben. And then we also run a monthly show at the Comedy Shop the second Tuesday of every month. called Banana Bread. So check us out.
Very cute.
Yeah.
I love the food themed names.
I know. We didn't even do that on purpose.
I love it. That's great. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Haus. I'll see you next week.